When Natalie first agreed to date Eric, she thought she knew what she was getting herself into. They had been friends since high school, their bond built on shared late-night talks, teenage heartbreaks, and endless debates about which pizza place was the best in town. Eric was goofy, spontaneous, and always the first one to show up when Natalie needed help. But deep down, she always felt something more for him, a warm undercurrent of attraction she never fully admitted to herself until now. Their first official date was a simple one, a picnic in the park by the lake where they used to hang out during summer breaks. The sun was shining, the sky was painted with soft strokes of orange and pink as the day faded. Eric had packed her favorite sandwiches and even remembered to bring her special strawberry lemonade. Natalie loved that about him. He noticed the small things, the things that no one else bothered to remember. After they finished eating, they lay on the blanket, watching the clouds drift by. Eric turned to her and gently brushed a strand of hair away from her face. "You know," he said softly, "I've wanted this for so long. I didn't want to ruin what we had, but I couldn't keep pretending." Natalie felt her heart race. She had waited for him to say this for years. Before she could respond, he leaned forward and kissed her. It wasn't a gentle, shy kiss. It was full of pent-up longing. She kissed him back, wrapping her arms around his neck, feeling the warmth of his body so close to hers. The world around them disappeared, and for the first time, she felt like she was exactly where she belonged. Later that night, they went back to Eric's apartment. Natalie felt nervous as they walked up the stairs together. She had never gone this far with anyone before, and although she trusted Eric with her heart, she still felt a twinge of anxiety deep in her chest. Eric noticed her hesitation and squeezed her hand reassuringly. "We don't have to do anything you're not ready for," he whispered, his eyes sincere and full of patience. Once inside, he offered her a glass of water and put on soft music. They sat on the couch, talking for hours. Natalie found herself laughing at his silly stories, leaning against him, breathing in his familiar scent. She felt her anxiety melt away, replaced by a gentle warmth that spread through her whole body. When Eric finally leaned in again, she didn't pull back. Instead, she welcomed him, letting her hands wander over his broad shoulders. They moved to his bedroom slowly, savoring each moment, each touch. Eric was gentle, asking her if she was okay at every step. But when it finally happened, Natalie was surprised by the sudden sharp pain. She hadn't expected it to hurt so much. Her eyes widened, and she let out a quiet gasp. Eric immediately stopped, his face full of concern. "Are you okay? Do you want to stop?" he asked, his voice shaky. Natalie looked up at him, her heart pounding, and gave him a small smile. "It's okay," she whispered. "I didn't expect it to hurt, but it's okay." Eric gently kissed her forehead and pulled her close, wrapping her in his arms. They lay like that for a while, his heartbeat steady and comforting against her ear. She felt safe, even if her body wasn't quite ready for what they had tried. The next morning, Natalie woke up to find Eric making breakfast in the kitchen. She watched him from the doorway, feeling a rush of affection wash over her. He was wearing a too-big t-shirt and humming to himself as he flipped pancakes. When he noticed her, he grinned and held up a plate. "Chef's special," he said with a playful bow. They ate together, and Natalie felt something shift between them. It wasn't just about romance anymore. It was about deep trust and vulnerability. She realized that she didn't have to prove anything to Eric, and he didn't expect her to be anyone but herself. Over the next few days, Eric was extra attentive. He sent her good morning texts with silly gifts, dropped by her work with coffee, and left sweet notes on her car. He made her feel loved and wanted, but never pressured. Natalie appreciated that more than she could ever express in words. One weekend, they decided to spend a night at a cozy cabin Eric's family owned in the mountains. It was a small place, surrounded by towering pines and a quiet lake that shimmered under the moonlight. They lit a fire in the fireplace, made hot cocoa, and played board games until they were laughing so hard they had tears in their eyes. That night, Natalie felt more ready. She felt like her body and heart were finally in sync. As they lay in bed, Eric looked into her eyes, searching for any sign of doubt. Only if you want to, he whispered again. Natalie felt a new kind of calm wash over her. She reached up and cupped his face, smiling warmly. I want to, she said firmly. This time it was different. Eric was patient and gentle, and Natalie felt herself open up, both physically and emotionally. There was still a hint of discomfort at first, but it quickly melted away, replaced by warmth and closeness she had never imagined. When they finally came together, she felt a deep connection, as if they were sharing not just their bodies but their souls. Afterward, they lay tangled together under the blankets. Eric kissed the tip of her nose and stroked her hair, his breath soft against her cheek. Natalie felt a wave of happiness wash over her. She knew then that she had made the right choice, and that this love was worth every moment of vulnerability and every moment of pain. Days turned into weeks, and Natalie and Eric's relationship only grew stronger. They went on road trips, watched sunsets on the beach, and cooked elaborate dinners in their small kitchens. They learned each other's quirks, how Eric needed to sleep with one leg out of the blanket, and how Natalie always sang in the shower, no matter how off-key. Their friends began to notice how inseparable they had become. At parties, they would catch each other's eye from across the room, sharing a silent joke or a soft smile. Eric would always find a way to have his hand on her lower back or his arm around her waist, as if silently telling the world that she was his and he was hers. One rainy afternoon, while they were curled up on the couch watching an old romantic comedy, Eric suddenly turned to her with a serious expression. Nat, he said, his voice low, I know this might sound crazy, but I've been thinking about us a lot lately. I can't imagine my life without you. Natalie's breath caught in her throat. She turned to face him fully, her heart pounding. Eric, she began, but he gently put a finger on her lips. I know we've only been together a few months officially, but you've always been the one for me. Even when we were just friends, I knew it deep down, he continued, his eyes searching hers for a sign of fear or hesitation. But there was none. Natalie's eyes filled with tears, and she nodded, feeling her heart expand with warmth and love. I feel the same, she whispered, her voice trembling. Eric pulled her into his arms, kissing her deeply, and they stayed like that for a long time, listening to the rain tapping gently against the windows. Later that night, as they lay in bed, Eric traced patterns on her skin with his fingertips. I love you, he murmured softly. Natalie felt a shiver run through her at those words. She had waited so long to hear them, and now that they were here, they felt more real and more beautiful than she had imagined. She pulled him close and whispered, I love you too. As their relationship deepened, they faced challenges, like any couple. There were small arguments over silly things, who left dishes in the sink, or whose turn it was to do laundry. But they always found their way back to each other, always chose to communicate and to love. One evening, as they watched a sunset from the roof of Eric's building, Natalie reflected on how far they had come. She thought back to that first night, the unexpected pain, and how she had let him try again. She realized that love wasn't always perfect or painless. Sometimes it hurt. Sometimes it demanded more patience and trust than she thought she had to give. But in the end, it was worth it. Every tear, every moment of doubt, every hesitant step forward, it all led her to this beautiful, breathtaking love. Eric looked at her, his hair catching the fading light, his eyes full of warmth and promise. What are you thinking about? He asked. Natalie smiled and took his hand, squeezing it gently. I'm thinking about how lucky I am, she said honestly. He leaned in and kissed her softly, the kind of kiss that spoke of forever. And in that moment, Natalie knew that no matter what challenges lay ahead, she would always choose him. Again and again. They sat there until the stars began to appear one by one in the sky. Natalie leaned her head on Eric's shoulder, and he wrapped an arm around her. The world felt quiet, safe, and full of infinite possibilities. From that day forward, they continued to write their story together, one of laughter, vulnerability, and an unbreakable bond. Natalie knew there would be more moments of pain and doubt, but she also knew that with Eric by her side, she could face anything. She didn't expect it to hurt that first time, but she let him try again. And by doing so, she opened the door to a love deeper than she had ever dreamed. A love that would carry them through every sunrise, every storm, and every quiet, perfect night spent wrapped in each other's arms.